All right. I think we are live, friends. Hello, welcome. This is Bond broadcasting from probably the most Canadian place that she's ever broadcasted from before. Considering we got some hockey memorabilia in the background. We got Gretzky. Hold on to this side of me over here. You know, you always have to get your bearings when you're here on Zoom. JT, Patricia, we've got Michelle here, we've got Kim here. Thank you to everyone who is joining us live, and thank you to everyone who submitted so many incredible questions beforehand as we led up to this week. I know it's been almost a month since I got the the green light to go ahead with this from some special guests that we will talk about later. But we're here. I am so excited to dive in and share with you my 360-degree overview of how this Bro Marketing article came to be, what it looks like behind the scenes, what it's done to the business, give the revenue breakdown, the timeline, like all of those incredible things. So as we are waiting for people to jump on and join us, I am going to fire up our screen share and start with a beautiful question. Of course, you always forget how to do things when you're live, you know, like your fingers stop typing and stop working correctly. And so that's what happens here. All right, let me see if I go into slideshow mode. Oh, then I can't see your comments to know if you guys can see this full screen. So we're just going to do a little bit of a tech check here because I haven't used the Zoom to YouTube integration so that we can make sure that the link that you are on right now is also the exact same link that you're going to be watching the replay with. So I'm just going to take this off the screen real quick. If you've already read it and you want to go ahead and answer that, please do now. But I want to make sure that you guys are seeing these because there is about a 30-second delay on the YouTube to Zoom integration. So as I'm saying this, you guys are probably just seeing that pop up onto your screen now. Yep, I see it on the live. You guys are still over there on the, what are those called? Google Sheets? Google, what the heck are they called? Slides, Google Slides. This is how my brain works now. Okay, I think that is working. So we will get started and ask, what type of lead magnets do you have as an active entry point into your offer? Actually, I'm going to go ahead and pop that into our chat for anyone who is here with us live. Question to everyone, what type of lead magnets do you have as an active entry point to your offer right now? So are you using webinars? Are you using checklists like a freebie, a PDF download? Callie says she's got a course, ebook, checklist, guide. We have ebooks. Robin's using none. Wait, live webinar funnel. That's still an entry point, right? I guess it's not a lead magnet. So let me rephrase that. What is the entry point into your offer? How are you attracting people into your world right now? We've got Quiz Funnel from Kingdom Over Everything. If you want to drop your name so that I also know who is here. 4 separate. We've got JT, what kind of entry point, just like from the marketing marketerson type speak? Okay, awesome. We've got guides and mini course, PDF downloads, free calls, ebooks, workbooks. Guys, where is our multi-page pre-sale sites? Or is that why that we're all here today? We are going to be going over what mine looks like as a potential way to introduce that into your business. I think that's what is going on here. So let me get this back up on the screen. We are going to, let's do it this way. I like kind of seeing what's coming up, and I'm so worried about whenever I go into big screen that it just disappears on me. So the first thing that I want to do is just give you a quick week at a glance, because anyone who may have just signed up for this live stream might not know that we actually have a few of them happening this week. So if you haven't already joined us, or sorry, if you haven't already added this calendar to your own calendar. I'm going to pop a fancy dancy link right into our chat box here. I know I got to keep going on and off just to pop that in there. So now I have a link over there for everyone to add this to your calendar. So today is myself kicking it off with this 360 view. Ask many questions as you go. I'm going to be diving into essentially the backstory, the timeline, the revenue, and the expenses today. And I'm taking inspiration from Yaz in our audience. And the week is sort of structured like we're looking at building it, then we're looking at fueling it, and then lastly, we're looking at maintaining it. So all of the things that went into the multi-page pre-sale site that is my viral bro marketing article. So that's the flow for the week. Today is me. Tomorrow morning at 11:30 Eastern, we have Sarah Tempty joining us, the lovely, brilliant copywriter behind this article. Then on Friday, we have Mike Heiser, which some of you guys may know because we actually had him come on and talk about how he's spending $1 million a month with Facebook ads. So he was part of this team, and he's going to talk about the architecture, the back end, the conversion optimization angles. I'm really excited for that session. I'm just absolutely obsessed with Mike. And then on Monday, we have a special guest coming along. Of course, I'm not going to tell who it is probably until about Thursday this week. So that is coming, but just not yet. All right, so let's dive into the backstory of this article. I'm going to go with that, and then I'm going to come back to check the comments before we get into the nitty-gritty of the timeline and then more of the numbers-driven side of it, the revenue and expenses. So how did this all come to be for Amanda Danielle Bond? First off, in like 2016, 2017 was the very first time that I was introduced. I'm actually going to stop the share so you guys can see me here. I was introduced to Mr. Andre Chaperone, the dark horse of internet marketing, as I call him in one of the emails that you may have not received already. But Todd Herman actually posted on his Facebook page a link to the original program called Autoresponder Madness. And I remember clicking through to that link and being flabbergasted, feels like the right word, at the amount of experts and gurus at the time and just people in the industry who were shouting their praise for this work, Autoresponder Madness, from the rooftop. If you guys aren't familiar, the Autoresponder Madness concepts actually was a contributing factor to Russell Brunson's soap opera sequence, and the way that he teaches that in the, I believe, soap opera sequences from the .com Secrets book. So that just shows you kind of the lineage and the genealogy that we are diving into today and how I stumbled upon this. So I see Todd Herman post this Autoresponder Madness. I'm blown away. I make it over to Andre's site. And at that time, it was just like this beautiful sales page, but I was just getting started. What did I say? It was like 2016. And I really didn't know if email marketing was the next step. So I just kind of didn't do anything with it. But I remember that moment so viscerally. After that, I stumbled, I'm going to say it was 2018. Yeah, it would have been 2018. I stumbled across Andre's site, and that I actually don't remember how I got there at all. And I was just blown away. It was like the most beautifully aligned way of marketing that I've ever seen. The way that he just took me on this like storytelling journey, this like soap opera, not soap opera, but like this, the words escaping me, but I was like so enthralled with the words that I was reading on the page. I was amazed, like I was in Andre's world, and I was totally bought in by the end of reading those. I think it was like 12 pages at the time that his own multi-page pre-sale site was. I was just so enthralled with all of it. I was bought in to multi-page pre-sale sites as a mechanism for bringing people into your world, helping them to shift their worldview and paint you as the person that can help them achieve the transformation that they're looking for in their life. Like, not just because you're a marketer, but because you can actually do those things, right? Like, I trusted Andre implicitly just from reading that multi-page pre-sale site back in 2018. But as I did at that time, I proceeded to do absolutely nothing with the information for the next 6 months, right? Like, we come across amazing, brilliant ideas all the time. I did that in 2018, and then I proceeded to do absolutely nothing with it. And even though I was like, this thing could mean so much to my business, like it could be an asset that I have for years and years and years. And I mean, you guys have seen it's become that. But for 6 months in 2018, I absolutely did nothing. So at that time, I was like, okay, Bond is not going to be able to do this on her own. So I started seeking out, and this word always stumbles me, an accountability buddy. I think that's what we called each other. Accountability buddies. I found somebody else who was going through the program who was also working on it at the same time. And we started working on it together. We started going through it and doing our empathy maps. We started figuring out our chain of beliefs. We started to really dive in and do the customer research, talking with anybody and everyone that we could about the specific angle that we were going to take for our sphere of influence. So let me get my little screen back up here again, so I can take you through the next steps of what happened. Okay, so Bond is finally understanding that, hey, I need somebody to help to keep me accountable so that we can go through this. And then I started outlining what would ultimately be my own multi-page pre-sale site. So if you can see this, I know this was probably an angle for like social media, not necessarily an angle that's supposed to be like taught on a webinar at all, like an angle of the picture, meaning the perspective of it. So essentially, this was me mapping out at the top there where it says chain of beliefs, those 5 pages that I would take people through for the multi-page pre-sale site. And then you'll see these little boxes underneath of it, like connecting each of the pages. My concept, because I obviously teach Facebook ads, was then I was going to have an ad that would retarget people at each step. So if somebody landed on page 1 and they didn't make it to page 2, I would then create a custom audience and show anyone who didn't make it to page 2 an ad saying, hey, you left off here, come back and read it, right? So that was the second line there. The third line is actually, it should be above it, but I just started writing the multi-page pre-sale site. The third line was me thinking about how I could continuously drive traffic to this piece in an evergreen fashion, because for me, it was really important to stay away from the expiration date marketing and create an asset that could truly serve me for years. So it was writing blog posts in bigger outlets that could drive traffic to me for free, and then use paid ads on top of it. Of course, I talk about Facebook ads all the time. I teach Facebook ads. I run ads for others. Like, obviously, I'm going to use Facebook ads as well. So here is how I started outlining what it would be. So conceptually, I actually just started learning, like, if anyone who has pre-registered for this event, in the thank you email, the confirmation email, you've seen this graphic. And I'm not going to go too much in depth on it today. I just want you to focus on these like 5 little boxes right near the bottom there. That is the outline, like the structure, the skeleton of a multi-page pre-sale site, those 5 pages. It could be 5, it could be 20. The number of pages is not important. It's really thinking through a process of where your prospect is when they come into your world and where they need to be to believe that you are the person that can help them create transformation in their life by the end of it. If it takes 2 pages, it takes 2 pages. If it takes 22 pages, it takes 22 pages. Mine ended up being 5 pages at first, and then we actually split it into 6, which we'll get into likely a little bit more with Mike on our Friday call. So after, where are we? After I started outlining it, the next thing I did was profit firsted 20% of my revenue that I was making as an ad manager. Because at this time, the program that my multi-page pre-sale site was actually selling, I was only running it in live cohorts. So I really hadn't evergreened this entire program yet. This multi-page pre-sale site was the catalyst for me to build something that was open every day. And again, not based on expiration date marketing, based on something that is building an asset that I can use over and over again in my business. So once I had it outlined, I put aside 20% of everything that I was earning on a monthly basis so that I could invest into hiring a copywriter. And that's the next thing that I did. The copywriter and I put together what you can see on this screen. If I click, hold on. If I click, can you guys see my pointer now? I think that might be a little bit better for me to point at. There we go. Point at things. But my copywriter and I outlined every single asset that needed to be written, right? Like this here was me wrapping my head around the whole concept of a multi-page pre-sale site and how we would fuel it and how people would continuously find it and where we would retarget people throughout the entire like process. One thing I found though is I really like this part of the process. Like I really love designing the skeleton of an asset. But when it comes to actually like figuring out now what it's going to say, I know myself, I'm like, oh my God, look at all these assets we now have to create, right? Like, even if I just tried to quickly count that, there's 9 orange stickers up at the top. Those are all the web pages. There's then 4 more. So there's 13 web pages there. Everything in blue is an ad. So that's what, at least 7 ads. And then anything in pink is an email. And I think there's like 20, because as you can see, like that last little email on the top corner is email 1 to 4. The other one's like email 1 to 9. So that's like 13 emails right there. That is a lot of freaking content to put together, right? I'm not going to deny that. Writing a multi-page pre-sale site, writing any funnel for that matter, is a labor. It takes effort. It takes time. But the way that I always like to view things, and I've seen the behind the scenes of a lot of businesses in this space, and I know for a fact that not everyone views it in this same way. So even if you're like, Bond, of course I'm just going to build something once and then like have that asset forever. Friends, I know. I've seen the back ends of some of your businesses, and I know that you create stuff so fast because we're also creative. We're entrepreneurs, for crying out loud. Like we have an idea, we're going to run with it. But then what happens is we move on to the next thing and we move on to the next thing and we move on to the next thing. So when I actually laid this out and saw all of the moving pieces here that needed to be created, I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to take this seriously because I want this thing to work today. I want it to work tomorrow, and I want it to work in 2023. And that is what we achieved there. So this was from our copywriting intensive. After the copywriting intensive, I don't know if you can see this image. It's so tiny there, but let me see if I can zoom in. I showed the copy, like a Google Doc version of the copy, to a conversion optimization specialist who had worked with Amy Porterfield. They worked with Traffic and Funnels. They worked with Todd Herman. They worked with Melanie and Devin Duncan. If you guys have been in this industry at all for any amount of time, Melanie was the very first person that I ever saw a webinar from. And I just have so much respect for the business that she built back then. He used to work with them, and he sent me back this Bond's Copy, a work of art. We'll like this out just because, you know, Bond, she's always dropping the swear words. I'll try and be a little bit more friendly, even though we have one on the screen here. So we got to work and we're like, okay, how do we design the website to make this the star of the show? And again, I'll get into timeline in just a bit. That's what we did. After that, what it became is a heck of a lot of copy. Let me zoom out to try and show this entire image here in one screen. This is all of the words of just these original 4 sticky notes. Okay, so those 4 sticky notes up there on the door, which was these 4 little boxes here. Okay, it looked like this by the end of it. So we had, so like, I think this actually like hits the floor. One of these is so long, maybe it's page 2, that's so long it like hits the floor. This is the copy come to life with some of those images. So once it was ready, once the website was ready, I just randomly was chatting with Mike, who we're going to be talking with on Friday. I think it was a Monday night, if anyone goes back, December 17th. I actually thought it was the 18th. My brain remembered it as the 18th, but it was 2018, December 17th, which was the Monday. I literally just went to my Facebook page. I didn't think anyone was going to be online. I just wanted to do like a quick few people to see where they were dropping off in the process, right? If there's 5 pages before requesting an invite, where are people going to get to? What are they not resonating with? Let's just post it, get maybe like 10, 15. It would be great if I could have like 100 people go over to the website and see that. So I didn't even think about the post. It was just like, I wrote some lines, I added the link. It's like one of those posts that, you know, everyone tells you that they don't do well on Facebook. Oh my God, don't have a link on Facebook. It's not going to go. The algorithm this and the algorithm that. No, honey, you're just posting bad content, like people that, or things that don't resonate with people. Like that's why your links aren't going anywhere. So at 10 p.m., I think it was at night, I post this. As you can see, the bottom of the screen here, there's now 3,000 reactions, over 1,000 comments, and almost 500 shares. This is what happened to my website the moment that it went live. This was 10 p.m. And this was probably these little tiny spikes, because this is 2,500 people. These little tiny spikes are probably me and Mike, the developer, just like refreshing, making sure it's okay. This then was 10 p.m. at night that it was posted, and immediately I had more people on that website than I had literally in the previous year combined. It was wild. It was the craziest thing I've experienced in my business. It really struck a vein, and just so much excitement happened because of it. Actually, I'm gonna quickly post this link in case you've never seen it. Let me stop my share. I'm gonna come over here to the comments and post that link to the original Facebook post that day. I hope you guys can see my links because I'm the host of this. I think I'm the only one that can share it. Let me know in the comments if you cannot. And then we'll get back to essentially what happened next. So after that traffic happened, actually, the funny thing is, let me get off my legs here. The funny thing was I went on the Social Media Examiner talk show. I think that's what it was. The talk show on Friday, which would have been the December 14th. And I shared the link to the article on that show. And so I think only maybe 4 or 5, like 7 people clicked it. It was really, really low. I believe 7 single digits, not 7 digits, single digits. So I had zero expectations of what was going to happen that day. if this isn't like unrelated to multi-page pre-sale sites, if this isn't a testament to Facebook communities and building engagement and really getting to know your humans, like, I don't know what is. I went to this page, like the page that we all hang out on, and this was the result of it. So it still blows my mind to this day. After that, my inbox like lit up. So many people, there was like, I have a folder of them, testimonials of people just giving praise for my essential sales page, right? Like the entire point of a multi-page pre-sale site is to put your offer in front of people, to help people see things through your point of view. And the amount of people reaching out and being like, thank you for writing this piece. Thank you. And buying the program at the end of it was touching. Like it was the coolest thing to watch unfold. Like the notifications in my inbox, completely unrelated, nervous system regulation, highly recommend if you're going to write something that is a viral article in your industry, because at that time I definitely didn't have it. And there was a lot of good things, right? Like people saying, hey, like, I want you to know that the writers, like copywriters, are going crazy. People who wanted to buy strategy are growing crazy. People in my community, people I have never heard of. After this, Entrepreneur reached out to feature me. People from Jeff Walker's mastermind came and asked me if I could go host a call for them. I can't even think of the opportunities that came like as a result of it, stages to get on. It was just so cool to see the support around a piece like this, because it did take time, as we'll see in just a second with the timeline. It did take resources to invest in this, to be able to create it. So seeing all this is just a blessing. But with the good also came the bad, right? Like I was calling out some things. And as you'll learn likely on tomorrow's call with Sarah, one of the things that we want to do is essentially separate the people who don't believe the same things that we want to believe. And so for me, the like villain of the story was bro marketers. And I love how vague bro marketing is, because we can all interpret it our own way. So people's perception of bro marketing could be their own like it is their own perception. So watching people respond, this is one of the people that I actually had blurred out. I didn't identify this person in the article, but I called out in the article, like, your customers aren't fish. That's one of the lines. And so they took to Instagram essentially bashing me because I was calling out their behavior. So along with the good came the bad. But it went on to really spark a conversation in the industry. It went on to create a piece of thought leadership that is still, again, I'm going to keep drilling this point home as we talk to each other this week. Like, it's still working in my business today. I believe I had somebody come through and purchase it yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday when I opened up my email. Like yesterday, friends. This is the most amazing part of it all. And really, like, it's been something that has since like gone beyond me. And customers thanking me for reading my marketing. Like, when's the last time you were thanked profusely for the free content that you're putting out into the world? When's the last time somebody looked at your checklist and then came back and like really enjoyed the process of implementing or reading your checklist? That is the thing at the end of the day that I myself am the most proud of. Like, I look back and see the legacy that it's allowed me to create by doing that one piece. It's wild. It's just so wild. So, at the end of the day, all I can say there is it really worked. That is essentially the backstory of how that article came to be. I'll take a quick break to check our comments with all of our friends here. Accountability Buddy. JT wrote it out so that whenever I like read it or whenever I see it written out, I can say it. But that word accountability buddy, it's so dang hard when it's not right in front of you. Amazing. Okay. I'm so excited to see you guys all here. Like, we get to hang out on the Facebook page. I love seeing all of your names and your profile pictures pop up and your hilarious banter. Like, I'm just so grateful for this community in general. You guys are so cool. Franny, nice to see you. We have, we're looking at the freebies. Okay, I don't think I see any questions. Just another quick mention. If you guys are here, but you have to leave and you need to catch the replay, remember, I'm not going to be emailing out that replay because I don't want to clog up your inboxes. I want to tell you the most succinct amount of information to help you guys make a decision if writing a multi-page pre-sale site is going to be the right next step for your business. So if you want to catch the replay, this link, I guess I'm on YouTube. So this link above you is the link where everything is going to live after we were done. JT said that list of assets that must be created. Yikes moment. Yeah, it really was. And I'm going to ask Sarah, remind me that tomorrow to ask Sarah what her perception of it was, because remember, actually, I didn't really get into the rules per se. So let me take a quick detour through the rules. There were 3 core people, I believe, on the team. As I go, if I think of anything else, I will definitely pop that in. But my role as somebody who went through the Sphere of Influence program, I had that accountability buddy that I was talking about. And I was having them essentially look over my chain of beliefs, like look over my customer research, like help to start like looking over my outline. So I had somebody there that was interested in those, like in those things as well. And as we go to the, what's it called? As we go to the, oh my God, my brain is misfiring. As we go to the revenue and expenses, the profit section, you'll see that like that person was not a line item. That was just a friend going through this process with me. So that was the role that I had with them. My own role, the way that I look at it is I was the lead researcher. I was the strategist behind it. I did so many customer interviews, conversations. I dove into the data. I analyzed the back ends of my business, all of my clients' businesses, things that I had been doing for years. I had conversations with people in my mastermind. Like, it was putting all of the meat and potatoes together, like to be able to present it over to the brilliant Sarah Tempty, who was our copywriter. So then she took all of those things and she physically wrote the words on the page, right? It's in Bond's voice. So if you analyze something that I write to, like on my Facebook page myself, and you analyze the Bro Marketing article, like those are my thoughts and concepts and research, but Sarah's actual writing. So she did that in Brand Voice. And then she handed me back some Google Docs that had everything. And then that's when Mike Heiser came into play. The reason I'm like looking funny is it looks on my end that we're still, we still have the Google Slides up, but like, I don't think on my end it's supposed to be. And so if you're like, what is Bond doing? She keeps looking over there. Let me know if I'm still up. What was I going to say? And then Mike came in. And so Mike was the person who took all of the words on the paper and helped me to add in the imagery. He helped me to redesign the website in a way that read very well. He made sure there was tons of white space and like it was a good experience and a good read for people to go through at the end of the day. And then he actually helped with like a lot of the even like pixel placement, metadata, because yes, friends, I teach Facebook ads and I absolutely loathe pixels. Like I still have the pixel, like the original pixel on my website. I refuse to change it. I still use that like tiny script where you can put in your purchase conversion value. Like I refuse to change it. It still reports fine for me. I just loathe the pixel. And so Mike was a godsend with that. Like he did some really cool like click to tweet development. There was a little bit more development that he added, like more interactive functionality. But as we'll talk about on his session on Friday, some of that interaction or interactive technology failed. And by failed, I mean people weren't engaging with it. So we actually removed it and made it like the most streamlined possible. Awesome. Franny said we don't see any slides. So perfect. It's the YouTube delay in my like YouTube studio, because on Zoom, you're right. It's just me and you. It's just me and you guys. Amazing. All right. So that was essentially the rules. Oh, no, I didn't finish my own side. So after Sarah handed back the Google Docs, I am like, you guys don't know this about me. I freaking love editing. One of the things that I like love to do is my friends will send me their ads. They're like, what do you think of this ad? And I'll like take it, pop it in a Google Doc, pop open my Grammarly and my Hemingway app, and just like rewrite it all. I love editing copy. Like it's put a blank page in front of me. Like I am gonna just have no idea what to put on it. That's why for me, like getting the skeleton, getting the Post-it note overview of all the pieces was so important, because then it's like, okay, I can understand what each piece is intended to do. Then I can start to like put words behind it. So, or not words behind it, I guess. I mean, I edited it. So edited it. I think that's how you say that. So Sarah wrote it. I then edited it. I sent it back to her, I believe like one time. The woman is just genius in terms of copy. We had worked together at that point for a year on some other projects. By the end of it, she would just send it back to me and I'm like, cool. Like, I know I could just literally go pop it into, I'm still on Infusionsoft, which I love, by the way. I could go pop it into Infusionsoft and just like know that it would be amazing and totally on brand and in my voice. So I was the editor. And then of course, like I've had to be the person that keeps propelling the message forward after the year, like over the years, right? I have actually only written one multi-page pre-sale site. I was fortunate enough to put together the team and the asset that one multi-page pre-sale site has created the outcome that we're about to dive into in terms of the revenue and the expenses. And I could have chosen to do more, but it just hasn't been a priority in my life or business just yet. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows about some secret offer that's happening later this week, Friday till Monday? Could be a thing. Where was I going with that? I don't know. I'm just so excited. So, I was talking about the one or multiple. So I only have one multi-page pre-sale site. You could totally create like different entry points. At one point, let me try and sketch this out for you real quick. At one point, I was thinking of having, let's say, this is our original. Oh my God, that's not showing up at all. Let's do it this way to try and contrast the lines. Okay. Let's say this one's only 4. Okay. So we have 4 pages of the pre-sale site. Maybe these 2 end pages are very strong at selling our offer, but these ones only appeal to a certain segment of our audience. What my thought was we could actually create just another front end, right? So it's like these 2 pages, and then this guy could essentially loop to here, right? So we don't have to recreate these final assets. They could still sell the program, essentially be like a leading to, if you look at my final page, which is the adstrategist.com/strategy, spelled STRADEGY, so not a second T, a G. If you guys go to that page, it actually like looks like a sales page. So that would obviously be the same for all entry points. But maybe this like front end appeals to somebody else. So like imagine I did a bro marketing version, and then I don't know, it would have been funny to do like a just a term, I can't even think, like a girl boss version. That would be a term that is very like popular, that could be fun but controversial to point out some things or point out some different perspectives with it, right? And then I could be like, hey, this one actually, like, maybe this one is a girl boss like start, and then it goes right here. Maybe this one is something completely else, right? So I could have 3 essential multi-page pre-sale sites, only adding in 3 more pages, right? Instead of writing 4 pages 2 more times over instead of 8. So that could have been the way that I went. I ended up spending more time just building evergreen, predictable traffic to this entry point, right? So it's like, that's why people still stumble across my website every single day, because I spent time then like directing people to that asset. I spent time collaborating with other larger platforms. If you look at like Social Media Examiner, for example, I think I have a video closing in on 1 million views on their YouTube channel that links to that article, that constantly gets traffic and leads, because I'm always tracking it on the back end in Google Analytics. Brigitte says, is the MPPS can be integrated in any website builder, like Showit, Funnel, Gorgeous Funnels, WordPress? Yeah. So one better than the others. I built mine on WordPress. Again, I'll have Mike talk more about like the actual structure of it, because Mike's a good friend of mine, and we haven't worked together in official capacity since 2019. But every once in a while, I'll be like, Mike, I'll message him on Facebook. Mike, can you like do something with my code? I don't know how to work my website. It's literally just this article. If you go to my website, good luck trying to find any other page. The home page is the page 1 of this article. But it could be integrated into any website builder. The angle, or like the thought process that I always like to think through the lens of like, how do we create asset-based marketing, not expiration date marketing? What is a tool that I can set up once that can work for me over and over again? For me, it was WordPress. All I pay for WordPress is, I looked it up today, a $300 a year hosting fee for WP Engine. That's the only like cost that I have associated with that. Of course, there's like, I'm on Thinkific for my like actual delivery of the course, and I use they call it Keep Max Classic now. It's Infusionsoft, and I think I just got a price increase email, so I probably pay like $200. It was like $179, and it's going up 12% or something, whatever the email said. Yeah, like it's the asset-based marketing. So how can you set something up once? ClickFunnels is great when you're testing offers, in my opinion. I actually like think the ability to interact with it is great when you're designing, you're testing, you're trying to figure things out. But for me, once I figure something out, I like to put it onto a platform that is cost-effective, reliable, that could be like search engine optimized, get that SEO juice as a way to fuel your multi-page pre-sale site. That's really what I like to think about through that lens. All right. Somebody said I'm an agitator and I love it. I might be. Actually, I think that's in my human design, where like I say stuff because I know it's going to cause some ruffled feathers. It's like when the iOS 14 happened and I put up a post and I was like, nothing changed on iOS 14. Relax, people. Like for me, nothing did change. All of our reporting still works. Everything still works exactly the same that it does since 2016. Like nothing has changed for the way that that I work with my clients in terms of ads. Okay, let's go back to these slides. And I think I got some of the questions in there. Ooh, Julie says your process is going to be the secret to my success in 2024. I can feel it. Don't want to tell Julie's secret. Okay, it's between us. Macy says she writes SOI multi-page pre-sale manifestos for clients, and they are game changers for a business with a solid, well-built offer. Thank you, Macy, for that clarification for people. Remember, marketing tactics aren't good or bad. They're neutral, right? Like when everyone comes to me and they're like, bro marketing this. And I'm like, friends, it is not the deadline timers. It is not the scarcity and urgency. Those things can be true, right? Like you could have true scarcity, true urgency, true deadlines. Like this promotion that I'm doing this week, I am going to open up the doors Friday through Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Pacific. I think that's what it is, because that is the time frame that I have for this offer, right? Like that is the constraint that I've been given. It's not good or bad. Like a deadline funnel doesn't make me a bro marketer, right? Like we're chilling here. You guys want to ask me questions, pop in the DMs. I will just literally support you guys and help you guys so much. Like I just love and care about this entire thing. It's fun. It like lights me up. But it's like the tactics themselves are not good or bad. They're neutral. They're just applied to the value system that we already have as marketers. So if you're a crappy person, I was going to swear, of course, but I'm trying to keep it PG here, guys. If you're a crappy person and you don't have a good offer and you're just trying to swindle people money, and if people ask for a refund and you don't give it to them, like this is not going to work for you. I mean, sure, you might be able to take some people's money, but I know that's not you guys. If you're here on this live stream, like nobody in my community is that type of person, because they wouldn't stick around, because they know, like they would see us, they would see how we all respond to things. Right? Like that's my little diatribe that I went on there. So thank you, Macy, for inspiring that there. All right, back to our timeline. Let's touch on that real quick, because we are at 4:32 and I am babysitting some 2- and 3-year-olds this week, and they're about to be back from daycare in probably half an hour. So unless you guys want some surprise special guests, we should probably get on with this. Okay, timeline. This was my only slide for timeline because I wrote it down on here on this pad of paper. So let's just take the slides off again. The timeline for this, for me, this is what it looked like. 2016, like I said, I stumbled across Andre and his work. Through Todd Herman, I did nothing. It wasn't until July 9th, 2018. The reason that I know that that was the date I started is because that was the date that I was talking to somebody about how freaking good Andre's multi-page pre-sale site was. I was just like gushing over it. In my head, I want to build something like that for my business, but then never take action. So when I got the accountability buddy, I literally went through our text messages today to see the exact date. And it was July 9th, 2018. That's when we started the program. And from July 9th until my copywriting intensive on September 24th, when Sarah and I rented an Airbnb and sat down and mapped out all of the assets that needed to be created. So July 9th to September 24th, it was research. It was like, let me go through the program, let me do the exercises, the empathy maps, the chain of beliefs, the customer research. Like I probably spent 97% of my time in that first module. And it was worth it, right? Like I went slow. I did the work from July 9th to September 24th, when I was like, here, Sarah, here is hours of video and like 3 months of my life. Can you go do something with it? She did. But God bless her, because That was a lot to ask. So September 24th, we did that. So then she spent October writing, essentially October and November writing. In November, the editing, like I said, I did one edit in November and then passed it back to her. And then the development of the website, because my website was just absolutely trash before that. It was like one page nothingness. All of my service-based clients to that point had come through relationships. So my website was pretty much useless. So November, we started development on the website, which brought us to the December 14th time that I was on the Social Media Examiner talk show, where like 7 people clicked through to the article. And then December 17th ended up being that viral launch day on my Facebook page. And I believe it was because it was December 17th. I remember getting was it 4 or 5? I remember 4 or 5 people joining the program on Christmas Day that year. And I was like, holy crap. This is internet marketing mecca. This is the thing that I've been watching so many people proclaim and work towards online. And it was just like, I'm sitting there with my family and opening up presents, and these like Stripe notifications start like coming through. And I was just like, Past Bond, thank you. Right? Like, thank you for doing the work, for profit firsting 20% of the revenue that I was making from clients, for investing in a copywriter, investing in a website developer, for taking the chance and putting this all together, because that moment was like oh my God, you really did this moment. And that month, I thought it would slow down over Christmas. It didn't. I believe January was our first $75,000 month. And I was like, oh, off of a single asset, friends. Like, that is the power of a multi-page pre-sale site, and putting in the time and effort to do it right? Like, there's nothing else that I did in my business. Essentially during this point, I believe I had one client outside of full-time working on the multi-page pre-sale site. That's not true. It wasn't full-time. I like a very chill, like, work schedule. I think I thought about it more than I was like physically like writing things, right? Because like Sarah had it for a month. So I wasn't really doing anything myself for that month. So just, I wanted to clear that up. It wasn't like 40 hours a week. Oh my God. It was my brain thinking about it during that time period. So that's the timeline. Do we have any questions about that bad boy? Aisha asks, I imagine whatever platform, we'd have to remove the header footer to keep people from being distracted. You could totally remove the header and footer. I chose to do that to keep them going through the pages, but like, you don't have to, as long as your website is super like streamlined. But I think for us in WordPress, again, this is a Mike question. I don't know anything about websites. Friends, you don't have to be tech savvy to like really have a good online business. You just gotta have the peeps that like know the things that you don't. So I think he just like literally created something where if I want a page to have a header footer, I click a button and it says header footer. And if I don't want a page to have a header footer, it's click a button, it's like no header footer. Like, that's how dumbed down he makes it. Okay, so, Naomi, hey, here on my day job, YouTube, whoops. Awesome, can't wait for you to catch the replay. Kim asked, was your research process taught in Autoresponder Madness? Confession, I haven't, and I also haven't finished it. Friends, confession, I have not went through the final modules of Sphere of Influence myself either. You're like, excuse me, Bond? Excuse me? No, like, this is why I collaborated with a copywriter who took it like to the next stage, right? Like who went through that process. So let me just dive into the revenue expenses, and then I'm happy to like chill and jam on the research question more with everyone until the boys get back from daycare. What am I doing? I'm pulling up the slides there. Also, I'm like sitting on my knees and my feet are like half asleep because I'm at my cousin's house in the most Canadian place that I've ever live streamed from. Right. And I'm like, I keep trying to shift because I'm like, oh, good. I don't think I can feel my feet right now. But there's also like toys and children's things everywhere in other angles. Okay. Profit breakdown. Everyone loves some juicy metrics. No, just me. I'm a numbers person. I also love that meme where it's like, God knew I would be too powerful if he gave me math skills. You just see people like tagging all their friends and family. Just, I would be too powerful if I had math skills. No, math is fun when it's money math, friends. Math is fun when it looks like that. Okay, so profit breakdown. Let's start with our expenses, right? Like, what did I invest into creating this asset? What do I spend to maintain it? We can talk about that as well. But like, I am talking about the actual article, right? Like, I'm not going to put in my course related expenses, which are like Thinkific and Infusionsoft, because I would need those things no matter what. And I mean, I already covered the expenses on those earlier in this stream. But I would need those no matter if I use this as an entry point or if I use something else as an entry point. I think I have like Zapier and Typeform, which I found out there's another survey tool that is almost like Notion. I'm looking into that one. That one kind of looks cool in terms of the design capability. I can't remember what it's called. If anyone remembers, pop it in the chat for other people to check out. But like, that's essentially my entire stack for the course side of the equation, with like Stripe and sometimes PayPal. I think since this article launched, I believe I had 7 people. Yeah, I think it was 7 people pay through PayPal. Everything else came through Stripe. The only other recurring expense other than WP Engine is obviously selling fees, right? Like the cost to actually process those payments. That's the one I forgot. So expenses. I purchased Sphere of Influence, and at the time I paid $585 for it, which they permanently reduced the price to, I believe it's $495. So if anyone joins this Friday when that is an option and it's available, you guys already saved, what was that, $90? You guys already saved $90 on the price of it. So the return that you're going to be able to get is even more than the return that I was able to get. So I purchased Sphere of Influence. I then hired a copywriter. And remember, let me pop this image back up. I hired a copywriter, and this is the things that we focused on for the amount that I'm going to show you. Page 1 through 5, the request an invite page. There was a pre-checkout page that existed, a checkout page, and then the purchase, a purchase lander. Sorry, this one was the thank you page, like after they request an invite. So this top row, so that was 9 web pages. Well, I guess we'll say this. It was a multi-page pre-sale site plus 4 extra like web pages that people would need that I didn't have because I didn't have any other entry points. Literally, this was the first lead magnet I've ever offered in my business, if you can believe it, which really isn't even a lead magnet. The CTA was like, do you want to buy the program? People are like, oh, that would be great. Do you want to request an invite? Sure, yeah, I'll do that. So my experience running ads for lead magnets for clients is vastly different than how I treat lead magnets for my own business. So a multi-page pre-sale site plus 4 web pages, and then the request an invite lander, which I don't think, if you guys saw on my Facebook page today, I put the all 6 pages of the article there for easy reference. The request an invite lander one, I don't think it was on that list. The URL is like theadstrategist.com/request-an-invite. Kind of a lame URL, but gets to the point. So that was the 5th web page in this price. So a multi-page pre-sale site, 5 landing page or 5 web pages, and then the invitation to buy email and a new sales sequence. Okay. That was the only thing that I hired, like she started with in phase one. Sarah and I continued to work together, but like it was on other projects. And like I had her build out, these are nurture emails. So they're not really part of the actual like sphere of influence. It's more, if you guys are familiar with Andre and Sean, it's more like art of email type of things over here, like the like the value newsletter and the soap opera sequences and yada yada. So all of that, let's go back to the expenses. There it is. Okay, so the copywriter was $8,000 for multi-page pre-sale site, 5 landing pages, and I think it was 7 sales emails. Everyone go tell Sarah she's crazy. That price is phenomenal. It was 2018. I don't even think she works with clients anymore. Like you can't find somebody. Like you can find somebody. You can't find Sarah. For like, you probably tack an extra 0 on there now before Sarah would even consider doing something like that now. So $8,000 to a copywriter. At the time, let me add context. At the time, Sarah wasn't quite Sarah yet, in terms of her like projects that she had under her belt. That's not true. She was amazing. But she was just getting started when we had started working together, I believe like a year or 2 before that. So just adding those disclaimers, because you might like go out and try and shop an $8,000 price, and then somebody comes back and puts like a 20,000 in front of that 8,000, and you're like, oh shit, that's that. There we go. Just lost the PG. Sorry, friends. It happens. Like it might just be sticker shock. So I just wanted to bring that up, but I'm being transparent in my costs that I had here. And then lastly, the website development. And at first I just paid Mike hourly. Mike ended up coming on to work with my team on a monthly basis, but that wasn't until I believe February of the new year. So, and it was it was more like maintenance and taking things to the next level, but the actual production of the asset was $1,400 to like code some stuff and redesign that website. So those were my expenses. Somebody's going to have to total this up for me because I forgot to do a total here. And then after that, what did we say? Our annual expenses were selling fees, like Stripe fees, PayPal fees, and the WordPress hosting. And then to date, I have spent approximately, I know I'm going to say approximately, but you're like, that's an exact number. That's not an approximate number, Bond. Approximately $56,740.30. But the reason I say approximately is because Ads Manager doesn't keep your data from before like the last 3 years. So everything prior to 2020 in my accounts is like wiped out. So I just went to my bookkeeping and pulled just literally all of the amount that I've given to Facebook over the years. But I've also advertised other things, other offers, affiliate offers. So it's like, I would say I'd probably like chalk another 10K off of that, but I can't tell you to be sure. So I just wanted to like overestimate, if that makes sense, right? Like this is the best data that I can come up with because Facebook, for some reason, like I guess it's taken up a lot of bandwidth. Does anyone know why that would make sense? Like, do they have to store that information? They probably have to store that information for a lot of advertisers. So thanks, Facebook. It's pretty useless of you, but that's how much I have spent on it to generate to date. I just pulled this number this morning from this entry point into the business, a grand total of 557,000 007. How perfect is that? And 28 cents. You're like, what, bud? Who's paying 28 cents for your program? Friends, I am Canadian. So it auto converts in my books to Canadian. So that is a Canadian number. Full disclosure there. Okay, I think that is all that I had planned and scheduled for you in terms of our deck. But I am happy to hang around until I hear that door open and some kids being unruly. So let me head over to the comments. feel free to join us. Tila said it's the database space, which they got rid of it. Makes total sense now. What was I going to say? If you're popping off, no worries. If you want to stay in chat, amazing. Quick reminder, if you haven't already added this link to your calendar, I'm going to pop it in the chat there. This is what's going to happen for the rest of the week. Tomorrow morning we have Sarah, then we have Mike stopping by, then we have a special guest on Monday. Friday morning, I believe the doors to Sphere of Influence will open for our community, and we will have the ability to join it until Monday night at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. So I believe it opens at like 9 or 11 Eastern. There'll be emails, friends. There'll be emails. If you're not already on the emails, though, come over to the Facebook page and just do like a quick DM to me to let me know that like you need to get the emails. I'm going to put the Facebook page link there in the comments too, just so I can make sure you're receiving it. But they're going to be opening the doors. I believe the price is $4.95 to join it. And then there's going to be a secret bonus offer that you guys could unlock and decide if that is the right way to move through this program. But I'm not telling you how. All I'm telling you is that you need to engage in a meaningful way this week, a la Andre and Sean. You know, they just have those like little rabbit holes for you guys to go down. So this is a rabbit hole. Will you unlock it? Who knows? Who knows? Will you find out what the secret offer is? Who knows? So I'd love to see you guys if you're available for the other things. If you have any other questions, feel free to just come back to this broadcast and you can ask them in the like comments. After we're done with the live stream, it'll convert to like a regular video. And I believe all of our live stream comments kind of stick around. They like go away, but they don't. But you can just ask the questions underneath the video if you want to go deeper on something. As always, my DMs are open. I am so just grateful for everyone who stopped by today. It's been a pleasure. And for those that are sticking around, let me know. We say Yas is in the background. Go Gretzky. Yeah, go Gretzky. Actually, Gretzky's from my hometown. Did you guys know that? I have had dinner with Wayne Gretzky's father. And so completely unrelated, my grandmother unfortunately passed away this past week, and we just went to the gravesite, but that Walter Gretzky is also at. So fun random facts about Bond. Okay, thank you, friends. Let's go back to those questions about research. So Kim asked, was your research process taught in Autoresponder Madness? It was from Sphere of Influence, like the actual research process, if I remember correctly. And Sean, he said with this offer, like this version of Sphere of Influence, this is the version that I went through in 2018 for everyone who's familiar with like Sean and Andre's world. This is the version from 2018. He's like keeping it intact as it is. He might have just updated like a few links that were broken or like going to different things. So anyone who joins us this weekend in the program will get that like Bond version that she went through back in the day. So just FYI of that. But I went through the first like modules and I think it was called like Dipto or something like that, where I just like declared that I'm going to write a Sphere of Influence. And then I started the empathy mapping, which they ask specific questions like in the program to sit down and go through. So for me, that's what my like July, August, and September looked like. I remember I went up to the cottage one day and I sat in a hammock and I just like totally journaled. I'm a writer, like we work online. So for me, I'm an analog writer. I just like sat down there going through the questions, thinking through the things, like thinking of all my client experiences, just followed the prompts, like brain dumped it 15 different times, 15 different ways to start to figure out the patterns, the ideas, like what are the big ideas, like what is the angle that I'm going to take. So that process was like 3 months of just keeping the journal out and keeping those questions by my side. The Franny asked, could you talk a bit about how you found the right questions to ask to get your research info? Literally those 6 questions in the program guided my entire process. We could ask our special guests on Monday if maybe we could share the questions. I don't know if they'd love that, because it is on the paid side of the equation. So we'll definitely run that by them for Monday. But they're very like, actually, I think one of them, I think they actually might be public knowledge. So if I can find the public version, like I will definitely drop it in the link or over on or in the comments here or over on my Facebook page later. But it's like, what do my prospects need to believe and agree to in advance for them to believe that my offer is the thing that's going to help them? I always add like create transformation, right? Because like marketing tactics, they're not good or bad, they're neutral. It's the value system that they're applied to. So I always add like for the good of them, create the transformation that they're looking for. And like that is essentially the guiding question. If anyone has the link, I know I sent it out. I sent one out on Thanksgiving. Being a Canadian, I completely thought that forgot that Thursday last week was Thanksgiving. So you guys got one email on Thanksgiving, which I think might have linked to the product launch manifesto, or you can quickly do a Google. I know it comes up in like the first or second spot. Andre Chaperone product launch manifesto. If you pop that there, I believe the question is like not hidden, but like a few pages deep there. But I just sat with it and I thought about it and I asked people their opinions. I like tried to like sit with it for so long to see what came up. So hopefully that makes sense from how the research worked. Let me know if you need any more clarifications. JT says, I've always struggled with the research on this. Would love to hear more about finding the people that you interviewed, read their thoughts, etc. Okay, thank you. Guys, I am a generator in human design and my strategy is to respond. And I'm like the first person to be like, cool, question, awesome. That's going to help me go down here. That's going to help me go down here. So ask away anytime. Finding the people that I interviewed, I literally just reached out to my network and the literal prospects that I have into my world. So it could be your email list. It could be people that have opted into your other lead magnets. It could be your Facebook friends. It could be your Instagram followers. It could be the people in your Facebook groups. I actually posted to my Facebook page asking if people would like to, like, if people would be willing to admit that they're living one launch from broke. That was one of the concepts that I was exploring in terms of people are just on these like launch revenue roller coasters. And then all of a sudden they have to launch something because they need the money coming in because they're living off expiration date marketing instead of doing asset-based marketing, right? So I was like asking on my Facebook page if people would be willing to share their stories. Please message me privately. I'm obviously not going to have you, like at the time, this was 2018, have you like talk about it publicly. So then people would message me, they would reach out. I then would ask friends, do you know anyone who's lost a heck of a lot of money with Facebook ads, listening to the gurus, right? Like joining the programs, doing the things and not having results. So they would point me to other people. And I would just get introduced that way. That's actually, I think, how I found my accountability buddy, was somebody suggesting that we connect. So for me, it wasn't necessarily like reading their thoughts. It was people telling me their actual thoughts. Like a lot of the words on that page are things that people said to me directly, or they said it in Facebook posts. Another thing that I am just like notorious for, I listen. Like my social listening game is strong. You guys might not see me posting all that much, but like I am listening to the conversations. I'm in the Facebook groups, I'm on the Instagram, like I'm following all of the patterns and things that people are up to. And that is the fuel that then became the basis for my research, right? Like the amount of links that I have, the amount of screenshots that I had in a folder that I then handed over to Sarah, that I like put in documents, the amount of things I just like scribbled on paper. I'm like, oh, this angle, this idea. It's reminding me of, I think it's the book by Cal Newport, Deep Work, where he talks about the more you are immersed into your own subject matter, the closer you get to finding breakthroughs within that subject matter that haven't happened before, right? Like you bring your knowledge and your experience to the table and you're like pushing the boundaries, pushing it. And you can start to then find things or see things that other people cannot. And I just resonated with that definition so hard. I don't even remember if it was Cal Newport or what book it was from, but it always reminded me, like, going deep, really understanding the patterns of behavior and the people and the human behavior and like the industry essentially from a whole of whatever industry you're in. Like if you're an accountant, knowing what mistakes people are making, like knowing what your own framework is, like figuring out what doesn't work, what does, what people are being told, the like lies people are being fed, the misdirection that other people are giving. Like even if you just listen back to the last like 7 minutes of this live stream afterwards as you're considering your own research, there's like 50 different angles or ideas that you could do for customer research right there. And like even just the social listening, start today, start joining groups that your prospects are in and screenshot or copy and paste every single thing that they say that they're doing or not doing, or that's worked or not worked. And you'll start to see the patterns like arise that then you can use to formulate your own multi-page pre-sale site. How did you know the copywriter you went with was the right one? Did you know her before? So Franny, funny story. Sarah might tell it from her own perspective tomorrow morning, but she actually tried to buy my program before I ever had this, like the multi-page pre-sale site. And I was selling it literally in the DMs because I didn't have another way to purchase from me. And I had like 150 conversations one-to-one with people being like, hey, Bond, I want to buy what you're selling. So Sarah messaged me, and she was a service-based business owner. And at the time, my program, the strategy system, was for people that had courses, because once you set it up, like it essentially works nonstop, right? Like I've had my ads running. I think I set them up before I had the baby, and then like I reset them up again last October. Like, and I don't even go into my ad account every day. They just kind of like run in the background. And so that, from an ad perspective, strategy, she had tried to purchase it. And I said to her, I was like, Sarah, you do copywriting, setting this up to get a client would then fill your roster, right? Like not a client, but like get enough clients to fill your roster. Then you would need to turn off the ads. So it's like, I don't know if necessarily the ads are the right way to go. Plus, like, she was really well connected. And I was like, your network is likely the best way to fill that for services for her in the industry that she was, right? Because we had a conversation. And so I basically like refused to let her buy my program. But then she was a copywriter. So I was like, hey, can we like work together on something? So I hired her to write a blog post, and that went well. And then I hired her to write a sales page, and then that went well. And I hired her to write some emails, and then that went well. And so then I stumbled across Andre's work. And I was like, dude, have you heard of a multi-page pre-sale site. Do you know what sphere of influence was? And she geeked out on that with me, realized she was already in the program. And I was like, let's write this bad boy together. And that's how we're here today. Oh, okay. Oh, funny. Yas just said a couple weeks back, Andre shared with me a brilliant book for researching, interviewing people, asking the right questions. It's called The Mom Test. Why do I know The Mom Test? Oh my gosh, I'm reading a book right now. Oh, I'm reading his book. It's called Write. What's his next book called? Write Epic Books, or no, Write Useful Books. I'm reading his book right now called Write Useful Books, because I'm starting to contemplate my next asset-based marketing piece of a book. And it's from the same author, The Mom Test. Awesome. Tila says she has tons of info from doing sales calls and social listening. Oh, good one. We all have those. Like, have you jumped on Zoom calls to sell a client? Have you jumped on Zoom calls to fulfill for a client? Have you been on weekly calls with your just like clients in general? All of those things can give you the results that you're looking for, right? Like the research that you're looking for. So dive into all the assets that we have at our disposal. Okay, Wave Digital. Oh my gosh, you said who you were. Naomi. Naomi asked, would this work with a service-based business? I have a client that, okay, so you answered what I was going to answer in the second line. I have a client who has productized their service and wondering if they could, wondering if it could work for them. Yes, because they've productized their service. If you were like Sarah in that like 2017 example where it's like, hey, if you put 3 people on your roster and then your roster's full and then you're so good at fulfilling that they like never leave, so you probably won't take on a new client for like 5 months. Writing a multi-page pre-sale site, it could give you insight, authority, thought leadership, expertise. Like it could give you value from creating one just personally, but would it make sense as a marketing asset? It's likely not the quickest path to the result that you're looking for. You know, if you have referrals, if you have a good network, those things might be the faster path to cash, right? But if you're looking to refine your thought leadership, if you're looking to really go through the process of codifying your own knowledge, figuring out your own way of doing things and why, then yes, it would totally make sense for a service-based business. Like, even if nobody had ever purchased me or from me as a result of doing this, what was it? It was like 18 plus 13 plus the price of the program. So it's like $10,000 that I spent to produce the original, just like first part of it. There's more assets that I've added over time, like a longer nurture sequence and ads and like, if nobody bought from the original Bro Marketing article, would it have been useful to do for my own legacy thought leadership? Absolutely. I think I still would have been happy to have done that. So thank you for asking that. Any other questions that we have today, friends? I'm so excited to have Sarah share her brilliance with us tomorrow. If you don't know her, she's just amazing. She, like, her brain, it's just so good. So that's going to be tomorrow at, what was it, 11:30. I've seen it for years. Then we have people sharing what their lead magnets are. Okay. I think that's all the question. Oh, we had Adam Earhart stop in. Bond, awesome stuff. I know Adam's a big fan of the SOI. He's actually sent some affiliate traffic to my SOI. So thank you, Adam. You are the best. Okay. I think I have all the questions there integrated into any builder. Yep. Oh, perfect. Justin. Curious. Oh, hi, Justin. Curious if you think oh my God, there's a heart. The letter could also work as a multi-chapter video. Yes, I do think so. And I'm curious to Sarah's perspective on that. I remember the year that my article came out, when I spoke at Social Media Marketing World that February, I was sitting down at a table with like Jacqueline Meller and Jessica Stansberry, who's big in the YouTube world for internet marketing. Maybe not like a big like Casey Neistat big, but in internet marketing, she's pretty familiar. Who was I think it was like Tyler J. McCall was there. We were all sitting around and I was talking about the skeleton, right? Like going back to that original outline photo of my sphere of influence and how I was mapping it. Jessica asked the same question. Do you think this could work in video format? And the answer is yes. I started to think about how we could produce like the exact same thing in video format. So I actually started, what's it called? Oh my gosh, what's it called when you do like a frame breakdown and you're like, in this frame, this is what's going to happen. In this frame, that's what's going to storyboarding. So I started storyboarding the videos out. And so for me, the thing that I was thinking through is I feel like it's going to be easier to lose people on video if it's just talking head like this, right? Like we have a relationship. It's probably easier for you guys to sit here with me for, what are we? Guys, almost an hour and a half. We are talkers. Are we internet besties now? Because if we weren't before, we for sure are. So it's probably easier to sit here for 90 minutes with me because we all have a relationship, right? On social media. On YouTube, like that's likely where your videos are going to be hosted. At least you would want to, in my opinion, put them on YouTube to try and get people outside of your world already to come across them. Capturing attention is going to be probably the biggest hurdle. So for me, if I was going to turn this into a video version, I wanted to make sure the frame rate, like the changes of framing, the pace, the B-roll, like I wanted it to be compelling as hell. And that's why I just don't think it ever got prioritized, because when I had a full-time videographer on the team, we spent time prioritizing the actual like inner program. Like if you go through strategy, one of our lessons is the Harry Potter map animated. And it's like the if this then that pathway of ads animated through the Harry Potter map with like custom designed icon. Like just the resources that I put into that one video just makes me laugh because it's so fun to watch as you're learning. So we just prioritize the actual like development of curriculum versus the YouTube version of it. But yes, I do think that a video version could work, especially if, you know, Adam Earhart popped in earlier. I know he's like big in the internet marketing, like YouTube. His audience would appreciate that because that's the medium that they know from him. But I wouldn't produce it just like a regular YouTube video. Like it would have to be super compelling. Like, oh my gosh, what's his name? Oh, what is that guy's name? He came on YouTube. Not Johnny. I'm gonna Google it and then I'm gonna have to go, guys. I think I hear Nugs getting hungry upstairs. Johnny. No, Andrew Jick. I thought I subscribed to his channel. Oh my gosh, what is the name? It was like the internet. I'm gonna say like internet gurus. Internet guru, the dark truth. There we go. James Johnny. If you're gonna do it, like I feel like you would have to do it like James Johnny style. Let me see if get rich quick gurus. That's one of the examples of it. So check out his I'll write it here. James Johnny. That video opened multiple loops and led to the next topic on the page for Pixel 007 purchases. I totally agree. That video. Oh yeah. Wait, are you talking about the James Johnny one there, JT? that we were unable to add gifts in here related to internet besties, right? Like, why can't we have gifts in the YouTube chat? Probably because it would be insane for me to follow up with questions. Okay, friends, I have had an absolute blast. We're going to do this again tomorrow. So I'm going to go refuel. If you think of any other questions, drop them in chat. If there was anything that we didn't cover, drop them in chat. And by chat, I mean DMs over on the Facebook page, because that's probably the easiest way to chat, pick my brain, help you decide if writing a multi-page pre-sale site is the best next thing for your, the best next thing for your business. No, the right next thing for your business. As you can see, it has made a major impact in my business. I could shout all of the things from the rooftop. It's really been a cool way for me to start to develop more of my own thought leadership, intellectual property that I'm going to then take to the next step and really start focusing on writing a book around the topic, and sharing that message in a different way. If you guys have been around the community, you know that somebody recently ripped mine off, which is funny because they give credit to Andre and then the group owner, I think it's like Alan Sultanic or something. And they're like, oh, I love the guru. I love the two people that I've taken inspiration from. And I was like, but of course you don't name the person whose work you ripped off. Regardless, it inspired me to go out there and write a book, because if only one person's ripping me off this week, I am not sharing my message for like far enough or loud enough. So that is the next best thing to do. Franny, Naomi, JT, Tila, Justin, thank you guys all for staying here to the end. To everyone else who asked amazing questions in the DMs to prepare for this, I love and appreciate you guys. And we should do this again, right? Like, this was fun. Maybe tomorrow? See you guys if you're there. If not, you can always catch the replay. I sent it out, or I'm sending out the reminders, which is also the replay links in your emails each day. So if you have those, amazing. If you don't and you want to get on that list, just send me a quick DM over on the Facebook page. I just popped the link there again. So talk soon, friends.